All right, good morning, everybody. It's great to be here at Missouri Western State University, getting the 2024 campaign underway. I know we're already a couple practices in, and the guys are working hard. We appreciate our season ticket holders who are here today. I had a chance to be at our pancake breakfast with them this morning, and they're definitely enthusiastic and looking forward to a great year. And I just want to say how thankful we are to everybody in St. Joe, and particularly here at the university, for the job they do in taking care of us. We've been up here 14, 15 years now, and it's a tremendous experience, and I know that Andy appreciates the preparation that we get here. With that, I'll open it up.
What was your message to the team this
year? There are certain elements that I repeat every year. I want them to understand the culture of the club, the mission statement. Obviously, our goal is to end up in New Orleans, getting to play for another Lombardi Trophy. But the challenge this year is going to be the distractions. There's going to be a lot of talk about us going back to back to back, and the challenge for the team really is to focus on the task at hand. Here at training camp, that's the next practice. As Coach Spags mentioned, here in a few weeks, that's going to be the Baltimore Ravens, and we really have to be in the present if we want to have a chance to achieve our long-term goals.
Clark, the recent passing of Abner Haynes and got me wondering about his jersey number is retired. I think he's one of 10 or 11 who have retired numbers of jerseys. I wonder what the team's philosophy is on that. And you've got a couple of Hall of Famers who don't have their jersey retired, so they might be coming up. But does the team have a philosophy on retiring numbers?
Yeah, well, first of all, let me just say how sad that we were as an organization about the passing of Abner. He was a foundational piece of the franchise, going all the way back to 1960. Played a key part in those early Texans teams, including the one that won the AFC Championship. I always enjoyed getting to see Abner. He frequently came to our alumni weekends and was somebody who was very passionate about the organization, so he's definitely going to be missed. You're right, we do have 10 jerseys that have been retired. And with the exception of Derek Thomas, all of those players were players from the 60s who really helped lay the foundation for the success of the franchise. As we've gone along over the years, we've needed to be more judicious in retiring jerseys, just from a practical standpoint of having enough numbers available, particularly for training camp where you've got 90, 91 players. It certainly doesn't mean that we won't ever retire another jersey, but it's something we're going to really think about it and approach from a bigger perspective.
Well, we got the update from Mark a couple days ago just about the stadium and obviously the future. Just, I guess from your standpoint, how much have you considered the idea logically and logistically of having the franchise play in a different state, that state being Kansas?
Yeah, well, at this point, that's premature. We do have 6.5 years left on our lease at Arrowhead, and GHA Field at Arrowhead is a special place, and it's special for our fans, and it's special for the players and coaches. But we do have to look to the future, and we do need a solution starting in 2031, which I know that Mark mentioned. We're glad to have some options. We really appreciate what the Kansas legislature did in passing the upgrade to the Star Bond bill that potentially would give us an opportunity to look at a stadium over there. And we're going to work very hard over the coming months and years to come up with a solution that makes sense for the organization, for the team, but also one that makes sense for the community. So we're approaching it very much with an open mind and look forward to talking to leaders on both sides of the state line.
You got very upfront about your love of Arrowhead, trying to keep it as long as possible. Do you feel like you and the organization need to do something else to ensure that you get that extra 25 years if you do get another chance to present it to Jackson County, or get Jackson County to have maybe a more stronger argument for keeping the stadium? Do you feel like you or the organization need to do anything different?
Well, part of our evaluation over the next several months and in coming years, we'll be looking at whether we're better off in a renovated building or in a new stadium. And that new stadium could be on the Missouri side as well. It doesn't have to be on the Kansas side. I had a bunch of season ticket holders come up to me today to share how special Arrowhead is with them, and we know that, but we do have to look to the future, and potentially having a new building, whether it's on the Missouri or Kansas side, may make the most sense.
For a long time, you were consistent in saying that your preferred outcome was a renovated Arrowhead. Do you still feel that way? Is that your desired outcome?
We're really approaching it with an open mind, and we don't have a desired outcome. We just have to find a solution that works for the community and something that works for the club.
Whenever a vote fails, there's speculation, and there's been some national punditry about the interest that maybe the Chiefs would have outside of Kansas City. Can you see any scenario where you would consider an option outside Kansas City Metro?
Yeah, well, we have a special connection with the community and with the Chiefs Kingdom, and our focus is very much on finding a solution here in the metropolitan area.
There's that 6 month, Mark Donovan had mentioned about kind of 6 months or something with the deadline. Are you kind of putting the deadline at 6 months too, or is it something where you're more open-minded with you go on?
Yeah, I think what Mark was trying to communicate is the urgency, and we definitely feel like this is an urgent issue that we've got to find a solution for in the near term. And I would agree with Mark that we would like to make some significant progress over the next 6 months. I know from having been through a few stadium efforts that they're slow moving and unpredictable, so to say we'll be able to get to the finish line in 6 months is probably optimistic, but we would like to make some progress.
What's most important with the training facility? It's not the stadium for you guys, finding a training facility or staying in the same place.
Yeah, well, we love our training facility, but we've outgrown it. And it's hard to believe, 15, 16 years after it was built, that we've outgrown it. But every NFL team has grown in terms of the number of people, number of players, number of coaches. And long term, that's going to be part of what we have to look at. It would either be a major renovation of our existing training facility or the construction of a new training facility that would help us accommodate not only the size of the organization now, but also where we're likely to grow over the next couple of decades.
You had an opportunity to look at the possibility of covered Arrowhead Stadium, something that could be rolled or could be put on there. And in talking to the people with the architecture firms, they say it's very doable. Is that something you might revisit so that you can make that into more of a multi-purpose facility?
Yeah, well, I would say all options are on the table. And as you know, that was something that we considered 20 years ago when we were working on the renovations that took place starting in 2006. I do think we'll look at it again. I mentioned the possibility of a new stadium also on the Missouri side. And I think if we went that route, certainly we would have to look at a dome. Dome gives you an ability to host a lot of other events, which could be important for the community.
You said that one of your messages to the team is about the distractions and everything that's going to come with the burden of obviously trying to win an unprecedented third straight Super Bowl. Is part of that message in relationship to what happened this past offseason, just the amount of distractions, the amount of things that happened off the field as well?
It's nothing specific to this offseason. I just think that we as an organization can feel it. The players, the coaches, everybody in the organization have a lot of people reaching out to them, a lot of people asking about the potential Threepeat. And really, to be successful in the National Football League, you've got to focus on the task at hand, which is the next team you're playing. I also mentioned last night that, like last year, every team we play is going to give us their best shot. When you're the defending champion, that game's really important for the teams that you play. They circle it on their calendar as a chance to take out the defending champion. So it was really more just geared towards managing the distractions during the season, focusing on task at hand, making sure you're present each day and give your very best.
We'll come back down. Go ahead.
And are you able right now to appreciate, as you're starting another camp, what this franchise, the run that you guys have been on, and I know you don't want to look too far down the road, but are you able to really sit back and appreciate what's happening here?
We definitely are, as an organization and as a family. And I think the 50 years between Super Bowls probably laid the foundation for us to have that appreciation. We were thrilled, 5 years ago to make it to Super Bowl 54 and win it, and certainly hope that there would be more in the future. But I might be lying if I told you I thought there'd be 2 more in the next 3 or 4 years. So it's been a very special period. It's not lost on me. But again, if we get too much into thinking about the past and how successful and how good we've been, we're going to have a really hard time being successful going forward.
We'll go last with Sam and then Adam.
Listen, a couple things. Like just your last effort to the voters was so focused on Jackson County. Since obviously the options have expanded, has that time period taught you anything? Have you learned anything maybe about your own preferences for what you'd like to see part of the new stadium, renovated area, just anything different that maybe you thought before?
Yeah, well, as I mentioned, our goal is to find a solution that's great for the community. I do think a renovated Arrowhead would be a very good solution, but I also think a new stadium and what that could bring to the community in terms of really big events, I think that could be really valuable. And as we go into this process, we're doing it very much with an open mind and to look at all the possibilities. Obviously, we have the pleasure every year of playing in a lot of great stadiums, some of which have been recently renovated, others are brand new, a lot of dome buildings, and we always use those opportunities to tour those buildings and think about, okay, what could we incorporate, whichever direction we end up going.
I wanted to ask you about Rashee. Are there any conversations with the league about potential suspensions? Just can you give us some insight into how that process works?
Yeah, there's nothing going on with the league at this standpoint. Their standard protocol is to let the legal process play out, and then they'll begin their investigation at that point. So I can't really project when we'll have those conversations.
Last one, Adam.
Mark, the physical preparations of Arrowhead for the World Cup, has that started yet, or what's the schedule there?
Yeah, so we started that process right after this past football season. We did some things that I would describe more as infrastructure that we'll need to support the field. We're in the design phase on what we'll have to ultimately do to the bowl to accommodate the larger soccer field. That construction process will start immediately after the football season next year. It'll go throughout the off season, and then we'll pick it up in the winter, spring of 2026 to complete what needs to be done.
So what the fans will notice for this upcoming season is basically the same stadium as last year.
Yeah, there will be no difference to the stadium from a fan's perspective this year. And our goal as we go through this process is for our fans for Chiefs games to not notice what we've done to the stadium. That's a big part of our effort to make sure that the experience isn't lost for our season ticket holders.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Thank you.